call that we hold. My name is E.R. Wolf. I'm joined by my business partner and co-founder here at LFI Guide Tool, and we are talking about creating a plan and then planning to execute that plan and then executing that plan so that we can win the week. That's what it's all about. We come on each and every week to remind you. If you're ahead of the game, you've already done this Sunday evening, you know what I mean? Had an opportunity to think about what you have for the week ahead. If you haven't done your planning yet, this is your reminder. And then we're going to talk about tips, tricks, all these things along the week that we have going on as part of that weekly plan. Obviously, we do 4 calls every week. This is one of those calls, Monday Sprint Planning. There's 3 more calls that are going to remain for the remaining of the week. The next call is going to be Tuesday, Tech Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central Time. Adjust for your time zone. And you're going to want to join us for that, for all things technical on the tools themselves, for LFI Shuffle, for the tap, allowing you to know everything on how to use the technology that's at your disposal. On Wednesdays, we recommend, if you are participating in Mindset of a Champion, these are the skill sets that you need to sell and market like a champion. You can check out the Edge Global link for the Mindset of the Champion for Wednesdays. On Thursday, we're going to do a roundtable mastermind. That's Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Again, adjust for your time zone, where we'll pick a topic. We'll go through that topic. This week's theme is going to be reset and refocus. And Guy, I know you're going to talk a little bit about the subconscious versus the conscious mind and how we can leverage some of that, or at least understand that a little bit to our advantage. And then that'll round out the week for Friday with the founders, where we come on, we invite you to come on. We collectively as a community talk all things LFI. We invite you to bring your guests and all of those types of things as well. So in addition to those events, Guy, when we're making up our week, we're also blocking time to take care of tasks and our other events and scheduled appointments. But in its simplest form, we're just making a plan. What do the next 7 days look like for you? And what are you going to be working on each day that's going to lead you to a little bit of forward progress? Now, before I hand it off to Guy, I also want to bring up one confession that I've got to make. Look, I planned out my whole week, and then I woke up this morning to a sick little boy. So I have to pivot and adjust. And that's the reality of what life brings. So I'm probably going to jump off this call a little bit early to take care of the little one, and then find ways where I can adjust and maneuver my plan to account for the unexpected expectancies and the chaos of life that's going to happen. So I'm not going to turn around and drop everything, but I am going to find ways to fit it in. And that's the word of advice that I have for you this week. Is we all know during any point of any time during the week, things are going to come up, right? Things are going to happen. Things are going to pop up. They're again, planned, unexpected expectancies, and you're going to have to deal with them. We've talked about a tip for addressing this early on, which has made me feel comfortable on addressing it. And it's the fact that if I allocate about 60% of my time and I leave about a 40% window in my scheduling, I don't plan my life in 15-minute increments. I have enough flexibility that if something pops up, I can pivot some things around, make some adjustments. May I need to schedule or reschedule a meeting or something like that? Sure, it's going to come up. But you want to have enough planning ahead of time to prepare and roll with those punches, as opposed to let that sort of knock you out for the week. So with that being said, Guy, I'm going to pass it over to you and contribute for a little bit and then head out here.
Awesome. Appreciate that. And hope everyone had a great weekend and had that opportunity to reset, refocus, refill, will skill refill. Because I had an opportunity. My refill is my education and keep learning and trying to do different types of things. And I was telling ER that mentioned it to him last Friday, actually, that I was invited, that I could listen to this world-renowned neurologist talking about the mind, the brain, which really fascinates me. But my higher education past life is kinesiology, the study of the body, and figuring out, what's wrong, how to fix something, and knowing that to the core value, or the core element that controls everything is your brain, is your mind. And this neurologist really, I think it just struck a chord a lot with me, from the understanding of why our brains work a certain way. And it really was pointing towards success and significance, and why 1% of people do things and 99% of people talk about things. And it goes to that conscious, subconscious, and self-sabotage. The subconscious and self-sabotage really live together. They work together. We can consciously know what to do, when to do, how to do it. If I don't know how to do it, I can educate myself how. If I don't know what to do, I can follow a process or find a process or a system to do it. But subconsciously, there's something in our minds that through our upbringings, through our education, and it's no fault of our own, it just happens to be that our subconscious is what really controls our day-to-day. And trying to figure out how can I adjust? How can I rewire my brain? Which you really can rewire your brain, but it's consciously doing it. Like I can sit there and consciously say, this is what I need to do. And subconsciously, I can pick up my phone and start looking at social media, knowing that's what I need to do. But there's a self-sabotage. It's coming in. Like I should be making an introduction. I should be making a call. I should be reaching out, following up. But subconsciously, there's something that happens that I'm picking my phone up and doing something else. And as an example, and it sort of made me think about, late at night when finally wrapping things up, sometimes you just need to let your mind go numb. And sometimes people jump on Netflix. And I actually saw a preview for a show that's coming out. And it's interesting to me because it's talking about big data and the data that is now pulled from every single individual in the world, to the point where you don't know it's being pulled, but they know when you're lonely, when you're bored, what you're looking at, what you're doing. And it made me start thinking about, if they're being able to do this as a business owner or as someone looking to hire someone, you can set yourself ahead because you could potentially reach out and find out how to get a hold of that data to see who are the 1% of people that do not get distracted at 3 p.m. and pick their phone up. And it's amazing what the mind is doing during certain times of day, just based on your subconscious mind. So it really came to me from an aspect of affiliate marketing, relationship marketing, network marketing, and why the 1% people are the 1% that are successful and get it done. It's because they're consciously knowing what they need to do. We talk about it. What gets measured gets managed, right? Well, I have to consciously measure things, right? I've got to, from an affirmations aspect, I can't just write it down one day and have my affirmations come true or that I'm working towards it, or write my goal down once and put it in my wallet and hope and wish that it's going to happen. Like I've got to write that down every day consciously to rewire my subconscious. If I'm going to follow up with someone, I've got to consciously have that written down, or I've got to consciously put that into my calendar. Now, my subconscious might sabotage it when the notification comes through, right? I know of people within Shuffle that can be so much further ahead. And when we sit down and say, let's do an evaluation of how the process and system is working for you, and we get over into the follow-ups, and there's 120 overdue follow-ups. And it's like, they're trying to hide it. And it's like, don't need to hide it, because subconsciously your brain, your mind worked against you, but you know that it's there to take care of and what to do, right? Mike, 50 overdue follow-ups. There's opportunity, but consciously you have to sit there and knock those off one at a time. And there's a reason, there's a method to the madness why we have overdue follow-ups in the system, to be able to consciously send you that notification. But consciously you have to pick the phone up, or you have to text, or you have to email to be able to get it done. And then you have to check it off one at a time. I remember when we first released the follow-up, somebody, within months had hundreds of overdue follow-ups and reached out and was mad because they couldn't go through and just reset it. I was like, well, are we just starting over? Like, you can start over, but here's an opportunity where I can go to these 200 people that I sent information to and consciously, and sorry, I'm trying to beat this into our heads a little bit and into our core a little bit to understand that consciously we've got to be able to make these adjustments and these changes in order to see a shift or a change. Because if we consciously don't do it, our subconscious we will continue to get what we've always got, because we'll continue to do what we've always done.
Guy, like, what a truth bomb to drop on us right now. And anybody who's watched this, just to sit back and think a little bit about this, because it's so true. And the reality is that we are all 100% human. You know what I mean? And I think we have to accept that. Again, I'm a guy who will raise my hand and say I have these perfectionist tendencies. And so when I consciously set everything up and then I find out, oh man, I'm not hitting 100% of it, and then I take an opportunity to step back and reflect on some of those things. Again, there are times where I'm as guilty as the next person, battling against our subconscious to do what we planned. And Guy, to your point, it's about having some personal accountability, especially when you're putting it down and you're measuring it. To your point, like getting these overdue notifications. Oh my goodness, I've got 50 overdue notifications, Mike. Great. Like, it's neither here nor there. It is what it is. But that's your reminder to say, here's an opportunity to improve. And it's when we continue to do what James Clear says in this 1% improvement over time that we can start changing the way our subconscious operates. You know what I mean? And that's really what it is. It's like having or living on autopilot. And Guy, to your point, I think that there are so many people out there in so many different areas, in so many different levels that are still operating on autopilot. But the reality is, if you want to change, and that's the big question. If you want to change and do something different, you've got to disrupt that in yourself and get out of that autopilot. And it's not going to be this overnight easy task. It's going to be committing to a process, like we talk about with sprint planning, like we talk about with all of these things, where you put those things down, the things that maybe, again, are going to be disrupted by your subconscious, and really being laser focused, using willpower, doing all of these little techniques that we talk about on a consistent basis to implement those change things in repetition, so that over time, with enough repetition, they become the de facto subconscious. And I think that's the reality that a lot of us who attempt to do something and then self-sabotage ourselves or potentially fail in that, we don't realize that we just didn't put in enough of these repetitions over time with focused and conscious effort in order to make those things become subconscious. You know?
Absolutely.
And the subconscious became our subconscious over time. We just don't realize it because it's now our default. And I think that's the one thing that, Guy, you're talking about that we can all take a step back and look at. Mike, this is the reminder that says, great, I'm going to start at number one. And instead of clearing all these things out and resetting the 50 overdues that I have, I'm going to go through and make a conscious effort. Is this so overdue that it's not worth it reaching out to that person? Or is this the opportunity to come in, reach back out to that person and start the process again and re-engage again?
And I know ER's got his little one, and if you weren't on early, he's sick, and here he is. But hey, Grayson. Hey, buddy.
Everybody's up there. He's not today, guys, so I'm probably going to bounce out right now. But here's the reality, everybody. Make your plan, okay? Exactly. Make your plan. Look at your plan every single day. That brings it conscious, right? Look at the activities that you need to take care of, and then take care of them and check them off. Do that consistently over time. We've talked about this in the past. At a minimum, give yourself 100 repetitions, not days, repetitions, okay? That means If it's something you do 3 times a day, 100 divided by 3 is going to take you 30 days about to implement that. If it's something you do once a week, it's going to take you 100 weeks. Okay. But that's the reality. You want to go out, you want to do it, and then leave yourself some flexibility and some grace to adjust when the unexpected expectancies happen. When you have a sick kid and you can't implement the thing that you have going on in the next hour, you just have to be agile enough to be focused on that and adjust or address it. So guys, have a great week. I'm going to bounce out, but I want everybody to join us for Tech Tuesday at 2 p.m. We're going to be focused on some of the tech, and we'll go from there. Guy, thanks for everything. Everybody have a wonderful week. Take care.
Talk to you later.
All right.
So we'll continue through here for just a little bit from the conscious and subconscious and the self-sabotage. Is we talked about it last week or a few weeks ago. We were talking about getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Like the marathon runner is the ideal person that has become comfortable being uncomfortable, but they've had to consciously go through that. They have trained their mind to where it is so much subconscious when they get into that 15th, 16th mile that they sort of just don't feel anything and continue to go through what they're doing because they were able early on to measure those elements or control their brain. Because ask yourself, when you're in a rut, what really happens? You fall back to what you've always done. If you were to quit a task, is that going to advance you forward? Right? Because the process that I want to have in place, I want to consciously know what I'm doing every day until it becomes so comfortable that it becomes my subconscious. Because what people fall back to, what I listened to and experienced is the 90 whatever percent out there that don't reach their potential is because their subconscious has fallen back into their comfort zone. And the worst thing about it is we all consciously know what's happening. We all consciously know that I should be doing this task. I should be doing this video. And I probably have already mentioned this, but subconsciously we do something else. Subconsciously we do something that's more appealing to making you feel comfortable. But some people might eat, some people might watch TV, some people might look at social media, take a nap, compared to doing what needs to consciously be done. So, I think that's just what really hit. If you didn't get an opportunity to jump on early, I would watch this in replay. I think there's some pretty cool stuff that we talked about from the conscious, subconscious, neurology, brain, how it works, more and more studies to understand that people can reach success. People can reach a significant level of wherever they want to be. But it's all going to be based on what they do, when they do it, and how they do it. Right? Mentioned it. What you do. If you don't know what to do, find a process to do. Find a system. We feel we have a pretty good one here. How to do it would be the other thing. If you don't know how to do it, you can always learn. It's Tech Tuesday. It's videos. It's me consciously making more videos, training, 30-second videos, 30 seconds talking about the affiliate, providing them to you to be able to consciously share those out, consciously do your follow-ups, and consciously know that if I want to be significant at this, I've got to do these things, because it's not going to do it for me. There's no easy button out there, right? There's no goose that lays the golden egg. But knowing that you can have the golden egg, you can have something if you just implement the process and consciously keep working to make yourself better. Like what I fall back to, and why I feel I had a great upbringing from an agricultural aspect, and why I'm probably a little OCD is you can always understand the character of how someone works when the job is done or when it is left. Like ER and I would always talk about it like we'd be building fence. We would be doing something that would be equivalent to that. And when the day got done and maybe we're not done building it, like how does that site sort of look? Is it picked up? Are the tools laying around? Is it just a mess? And why it sort of came to me yesterday is we had hired some handyman to my daughter's first birthday is coming in a couple weeks, and we have a play set that has like 5,000 pieces, and it was going to take me a long time because it was like day one, count all your pieces. It's like, wow, this is going to take forever. Well, these handyman had created or had built some of these in the past, so they knew what they were doing, and they went through the process, and they went from 9 to 6 yesterday to build a kid's play set. And they had a manual, but every once in a while you would look out and it's like it's not moving very smooth. And it just started, I consciously looked at the job site, and it was how organized or lack of organization, disorganized it looked out there, and why it was moving slow at some points. And it was like you step outside and you're seeing how things are going, and all of a sudden things get organized, and they are starting to get managed, and they're starting to advance and move it forward. And I think that can happen in those type of scenarios, or in a job scenario when you have someone that you have to answer to. But I think when it falls back onto ourselves on being successful and significant, and neurology, the neurologic aspect of your brain and mind is to know that I've consciously got to take care of the little things, right? I even do it every night before going to bed. Like, I'm not going to leave the dishes sitting in the sink. I've got to get them in the dishwasher and run them at night. If there's a load of clothes that are setting in the wash, that half of them get hung and the other half go in the dryer, but it's midnight, I better take the time to get the ones hung, because I don't want them to smell like mildew. And so that's where I go into my work every day and say consciously, I've got to get my affirmations down. So it started at 4:30 this morning for me. Consciously get my affirmations down. And I'm going to run this until my conscious mind becomes subconscious. Like, consciously, I've got 5 videos that subconsciously I have been self-sabotaging. Like, they need to be done. They need to be out there. Consciously, they will be done this week. I will get those out there. I've got follow-ups. Started at 4:30. I've got every follow-up but one done. These are things that I know that when I measure and I manage, I'm going to move them forward. And this is just, part of being a part of the LFI community, and why we're here, and why we're always trying to encourage people, to let you know that's all we can do is inspire. We can't motivate you. Motivation is something from your mind that you can only do for yourself. But we can inspire you to say, get those conscious things down on paper. Follow through. To Shelly, your point, you digitize them. Like, you put them in your calendar in a digital way. I put them in my calendar. Both my iCloud and my Google calendars are synced. So I get double notifications on everything. And it's going to be a conscious mind if I take action, or a subconscious if I swipe left and delete it. But I am consciously going to, I'm consciously going to put 100% effort in to knowing what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and how to do it. So I know Yar went through before he jumped off what the week looks like. We have training Tech Tuesday at 2 tomorrow with Kathy, 2 Central. Thursday, ER has his mastermind. That's at 11 a.m. Central. And then 11 a.m. Central Friday, it'll be Friday with the founders. I encourage everybody to have a great week, to get things down on paper, get them put within your calendar, consciously follow a system, and do not self-sabotage. Do not let your subconscious sabotage what you're trying to get towards. So with that, I hope everyone has a great week. We'll be connecting here soon. Reach out if you need anything, and we'll talk to y'all later.